Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Boy, do I have a fun video for you guys today. I have gone through my favorites, my monthly favorites videos from the last 4 years and picked out a full face of makeup using some old favorite products that maybe you guys have not seen me use for a while. In fact, a couple of these I have not used for a while, and we are putting them all on my face to the test today. This was so much fun. It was fun to be reminded of some of these old favorites, some of which have not been too far out of the rotation, but a couple of them I have not used for a very long time, and a couple of them I may have changed my mind on. So should be fun to try them out together today. Hope you guys are excited about it. Before we get into all the makeup though, I want to wish a special welcome to my new visitors. Thank you for stopping by. Please consider subscribing to my channel before you leave and make sure that your notifications are turned on. With that out of the way, let's get right to it. Okay, so we're gonna start with a primer. So I picked the Tarte Glotion Primer. This was in my favorites video back in April of 2022. I did just check online and it looks like they still sell this on the Tarte website, but you can't buy it at Sephora anymore. This is a pretty basic primer. It reminds me a little bit of something along the lines of like the Charlotte Tilbury, Hollywood Flawless Filter, or the e.l.f. Halo Glow. Maybe a little bit thinner, more serum-like. I actually have a dupe for this from Pacifica that is almost exactly the same consistency and shade as this. Okay, an old favorite foundation. This one comes from my November of 2021 favorites video, and that is the Dior Backstage Foundation. I have the shade 2N, which I really like this foundation a lot, obviously, but I feel like this shade is just maybe a little off for me. It seems a little bit more peachy than I would like. I'd like something not quite so kind of like peachy undertone. Maybe more like a neutral kind of yellowy undertone. Peaches just tend to turn a little bit odd on me or make me look a little bit orange. So we're gonna put this on with a brush today. I do really like this foundation though. It wears really well. You get a ton of product in here, a full 1.6 ounces. And I know it's a favorite of a lot of people, or at least it was back in the day. Again, we're talking a couple years here. Do you guys still use your Dior Backstage Foundation? Has good medium coverage. I think it's supposed to be pretty transfer proof. It kind of does remind me of my L'Oreal Fresh Wear foundation, which I love. That's one of my most repurchased foundations of all time. And now we're gonna move on to a concealer. So I picked a concealer from my April of 2021 favorites video, and that is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is one of the best value-wise, best concealers at the drugstore. I decluttered my original Camo concealer from e.l.f. I actually like that one as well. I think this one's just a little bit more hydrating, but honestly, I don't think they're that different. I didn't find the original Camo to be overly drying on me, although I know some people did have that complaint. But I also don't find this one to be overly dewy to where it would make me nervous if I had more oily skin or a lot of fine lines. I'm worried about things moving around. So I have to use 2 shades of this, by the way. Neither of these shades is the right shade for me, which is often how I like to buy my concealer. I have Fair Warm and Medium Sand, and we're just gonna mix those 2 together, equal parts. And we're gonna tap it on first with my finger, then we'll blend it out with a clean sponge. It has such great coverage. It's super affordable, and you get so much concealer inside here. Honestly, I should probably replace mine. They're a little on the old side. Kind of blending that out with my finger. I'm gonna go over it with my sponge. Actually, I don't usually apply this concealer this way. I don't know why I'm doing it like this today. So I'm taking a little bit of that lighter shade, and we're gonna use that as an eyeshadow primer. And then I will grab my beauty sponge and we'll kind of finish blending all this out now that it's kind of set down. I kind of like to kind of tap it on or dot it on and let it like sit for a good couple of minutes, because I feel like it kind of thickens it up a little bit and kind of helps with the coverage level. Okay, now we're gonna start tapping that. Tapping it in. Okay, I just remembered I did not pick a powder. Rarely do powders make it into a favorites video for me. I'm just gonna use my Rimmel Stay Matte powder. Possible this has been in a favorites video before. Sometimes I just forget about powder. It's not one of those things, even though I use it, I just kind of, it's a very functional product for me, and I have just a couple that I don't tend to switch up very much. All right, let's move on to bronzer. So I picked a bronzer from back in September of 2021, and that's the Fenty Cheeks Out Cream Bronzer in Butter Biscuit. This is such a great cream bronzer. I have a lot of cream bronzers that I really love, as you guys very well know, but I do know that a lot of you guys, at least a few years ago, back when I was talking about this and using it more, also love this one. Just a really good shade if you have fair skin, and if you're very sensitive to bronzers that turn too warm or too orange on you, this one's just perfect. Almost has that kind of like blushy tone to it. Good mix of like warm and cool. It's kind of like a dual purpose bronzer contour, bronzer. I feel like a company did that play on words. I don't know who that was though. Maybe it was me. I don't know. Maybe I'm making it up. So pretty. Honestly guys, I love doing videos like this. It's just a good reminder, I think, right, especially in the midst of the Sephora sale and all the buzz about all the new makeup out there, including for me. It's fun sometimes to just remember there's so much good makeup that we probably still have that we can use up. So if you're feeling like you're feeling a little FOMO, you really don't need to. If you have some of these things or old favorites of your own, pull them back out, give them some love. Sometimes it's fun to rediscover. Now for the blush that I picked one of my Juicy Pink water blushers. I know that these have not made an appearance in a video for probably a couple of years. In fact, I don't use them a ton anymore because I just have so many blushes that I'm trying out all the time, but they are still an old classic Mandy Lee favorite. If you guys have been following me for a long time, you will know that there was a good year or two where I just loved on these blushes so much. They're so fun. If you like liquid blushes, these are one of the nicest formulas and the funnest ones because they look like little nail polishes. They come in so many fantastic colors. So this one comes from May of 2021. I talked about this specific shade. I think it's PK02. It's the shade Raspberry. It's a really nice, just kind of bright berry tone. Oh my gosh, these are so great. They smell so good. I love these. I really need to pull them out more often. I just feel like every company in the world started releasing cream and liquid blushes over the last couple of years, and I had to try them all out, and I just kind of forgot about these ones. They're probably not the most long wearing blushes if you have oilier skin, but if you have dry skin, these have such a lovely, just very, not a greasy formula. They truly are like a water. They just really like soak into your skin. Add a touch of hydration that's not overly sticky. Okay, let's go to a highlighter. So I picked a highlighter from back in April of 2023. So this one's not as old, as long ago, and it comes from my Benefit palette. This is just the Benefit Cookie highlighter. I have mine in their Cheek Stars palette. This is such a great palette, by the way, but this cookie highlighter I know is a favorite of so many people. It is really good if you like an intense highlighter. It's a little bit on the glittery side. So if you're sensitive to texture, you have a lot of maybe like, do you guys get these little bumps on your skin? I do get them on occasion. They're just little kind of, they're not even really white heads. They're just like little bumps, like clogged pores. I don't know what the official name is, but I sometimes get them on my cheekbones. This type of a highlighter is definitely gonna emphasize those. So if you have that kind of texture, a lot of lines around here, maybe not the most forgiving formula, but if you like something blinding, I mean, look at that, you guys. It's so, so intense. I'm gonna go with my little sponge here and just kind of tap around the edges, press that in a little bit. So pretty. It also smells really good. Do you guys like the smell of the Benefit Cheek products? They have a very distinct smell that kind of smells, it smells a little bit like an old lady to me, like an old lady perfume, but in the best way. Speaking of old ladies, that's another thing, going through my old favorites video. By the time I got to like 2021, I realized, man, I've been doing this for a long time. It made me feel very, very old. Pretty. Let's move on to the brows next. So for my brows, I picked first the Holika brow pencil back from October of 2021. This is a K-Beauty brand. One of my favorite things to buy in Korean, by the way, K-Beauty is Korean brand makeup, but one of my favorite, most successful tries from Korean makeup, brow pencils. I have found so many amazing brow pencils from K-Beauty brands. In fact, it's rare that I try one that I don't just think is fantastic. Color, formula, they have so many good like skinny brow pencils that you can buy for super, super cheap. And this is one of them. This one is great. This is their Skinny Eyebrow in the shade Ash Brown. This one reminds me a lot of just like a Benefit Gimme Brow. The Ulta Beauty one, although I think this one's a little stiffer. It's more like the Benefit. It's a nice stiff formula, but it still lays down. It's not so stiff that it doesn't lay down color, but it's not so waxy that you can't be precise. Gel. So I also picked my e.l.f. Brow Lift. This one comes from May of 2021. You guys, and this, I didn't realize this product was so old. I really should replace this. It used to be clear and now it's kind of this like milky white, which is probably gonna gross some of you out. So if it does gross you out, you can skip this part. It's just my brows. If I was putting it like directly on my cheeks or my skin, it really doesn't bother me that much. This is basically like a clear, kind of waxy slash gel kind of pomade. Reminds me of like a hair pomade. It's a less sticky version of the ABH Brow Freeze, which I do also like. And I have not used it for a very long time, obviously. And probably will throw it away after this video, but it still works. There we go. Let's move on to the eyeshadow palette. This was so tricky. I have had a lot of eyeshadow palettes that have made it into favorites videos over the years. I ended up going with this one from June of 2022. It is the Nabla Read My Mind palette. I love the Nabla palettes. You have probably seen many of them repeatedly in favorites videos, particularly their cutie palettes, which I think are so good. This one is also very good. I actually haven't used it or talked about it for quite a while. And it's a great color story. If you like pinks and kind of neutrals with like a touch of these, I don't know what you would call these, kind of like grayish greens, like very soft color, I guess. This is a really fun one. I love the Nabla formulas. Should we try and match my jacket today and do like the mustardy color? Let's go like full on warm tone today. Speaking of warm tones, not to give you guys a huge spoiler, I've been playing with my, hang on, let me grab it. My Makeup by Mario Neutrals matte palette. I just talked about that in my Sephora video. I've been playing with it now for about a week and it's very good. The formulas are great. It's even more cool toned than I think I gave the impression of the first time I tried it on camera in my last video. To the point where I just find myself, I love warm tones and I know that I'm probably a minority in that I prefer warm tones over neutrals or cool tones. Like something like this. I just like the pop of color. I feel like it warms up my face. I don't know if it's just my skin tone or just a preference thing, but I just don't think cooler tones look very good on me. So I don't know. I mean, as much as I like that one, I just wish there were a couple of warmer leaning shades in here. I do often get feedback from people that just are not into the warm tones. So I know it is kind of a preference thing. And I know there are tons of people raving about this palette right now. And for the formula, I would agree with them. I'm just not sure I like the colors as much as everybody else seems to. Use that same shade and just run it lightly under the lower lash line. I don't want to go too bold or colorful. I have to go up to volunteer at my daughter's first grade class in an hour. I don't like my makeup to be too bold when I go there. Distracts the little girls. They're always like, ooh, I like your sparkly eyeshadow. Like, I like yours too. Seriously, there's some young kids wearing makeup to school these days. Not my daughter, but okay, we're gonna move on to this dark brown right here, the warm dark brown in the corner. On that same small brush, little flat brush from Persona, we're just gonna use this as kind of a liner. Let's go under the lower lash line with this a little bit. I also know I get a lot of comments from, not a lot, occasionally I will get comments from some of you that are like, can you do like something different with your eyeshadow? You do the same thing all the time. I used to be much more creative than I am these days. I just find what works for me, especially for my age and like my smaller eye shape. I used to kind of do like halo eyes and that kind of thing. They just don't look good on me anymore. I have a harder time switching it up. I will try to do that maybe in an upcoming video because I know some of you guys get tired of me doing the same technique over and over and over and over again. Okay, let's go into this shade right here. This is just kind of a, I don't know what you'd call this, like a mix between a champagne and a bronze. It's nice and warm, but it's not too yellow toned, which I love. I don't like yellow, too strongly yellow shimmery eyeshadows on me. I don't mind a yellow matte, but like a yellow shimmer on my lid just doesn't look very good on me. Says the girl who just said she likes warm tones. I guess I'm a little bit picky. Okay, we're gonna take this little matte kind of ivory shade right here. And on a small kind of pinpoint brush, we're gonna run a little bit of this under the brow bone. And then let's add a little bit to the inner corner. A little bit of a matte ivory. There we have it. I'm gonna curl my lashes really quick. Now we're moving on to a black gel liner today. You probably thought I was gonna use my trusty Wet n Wild, but I decided to do something a little bit different because we are gonna be using some lashes. This is my Natasha Denona Work and Set Gel Liner. This one I mentioned in a favorites video back in January of 2022. I repurchased this a couple of times. This one, I'm probably ready to get a new one. Gel liners, that's the only bad thing about them. They do dry out somewhat quickly. Honestly, there are some really good ones at the drugstore. I should probably just buy a drugstore one next time, especially because I seem to have a hard time finishing up a full pot because I don't wear gel liner every single day. But when I'm wearing lashes, I do generally prefer a gel liner. I'm just gonna add a little bit of this just to the outer half of my lash line. Now I'm gonna throw in a couple coats of my Tower 28 mascara from October of 2022. Then I'll be right back. I'll show you guys the lashes and we'll finish with the lips. Okay, there are the eyes so far. I did pick some lashes. These are the Eyeliner 3/4 lashes. I first talked about these in a favorites video in April of 2023. I have like 4 boxes of these lashes. I don't wear lashes very often, but when I may be having a date night or maybe like going to church or something where I just wanna be a little bit more dressed up, these are amazing, and that is coming from someone that usually hates wearing lashes. I can rarely get lashes to stay on me or to be comfortable or to look good on me, but these ones do all of those things. They are not uncomfortable, they're easy to apply, and they look very natural, but just add something special. So I'm gonna apply these really quickly. Let me do that off camera, and then I'll be back and we'll finish off the lips. Okay, and here we have the finished eyes, complete with the set of 3/4 lashes. I love these lashes, they are so amazing. Let's move on to the lips. So I picked out 2 things for the lips. First off, a lip liner. This comes from April of 2022, and it is MAC's Subculture. I actually haven't used this lip liner for a while, but I really do like the MAC lip liners. This one's a very, very soft, almost like a lighter nude. I'd almost say it's between a brown and a pink. So we're gonna start by applying this. I'm gonna kind of overline initially and then lightly kind of fill in the perimeter of my lips. These are really stiff and require a lot of kind of back and forth. They're a little bit on the drier side. They're technically not long wearing, but because they are a drier formula and you have to really kind of work to shape your lips and get the color to come off, I feel like they last a little bit longer because of that. There we have the lip liner. Last thing I have for today comes from November of 2021. Do you guys remember these Hard Candy Plumping Serum Lip Balms? I used to rave about these all the time. I have not talked about them for a long time. I don't believe that you can even buy these anymore. I do still use these all the time. This one was in my drawer. I actually have this exact same shade that's almost gone that is in my like workout area. It's kind of like a lip balm. I put one in my purse. These are all over the place and I still use them quite often. This one is in the shade Colossal Caramel, one of my favorites. I actually even liked these on my cheeks for a little bit. I don't use them that way very much anymore. They kind of remind me of the formula of the Flower Beauty Gel Crush lip and cheeks. So we're gonna just use this on top of that lip liner. This is one of those type of products that you can just throw in your bag. They add a little bit of color, a little bit of shine. They're comfortable. I need to find a duplicate for these. I wish they still made these because I think they're fantastic. And that's it, you guys. This is the completed makeup look using some old monthly favorite products from the last several years. I have to say, I'm pretty happy with how this look came together. It was fun to do this, to be reminded of some old favorites that I still like a lot. Now, there were a couple of things retrying today that maybe I might have changed my opinion on. I am noticing that my under eye area looks really dry and extra lined today. I don't know if that's the Hydrating Camo Concealer, which I feel like it hasn't been that long since I used this. I'm just noticing my under eye area does not look amazing today. Maybe it was the foundation. I don't think so. I'm leaning towards this, but I'll have to keep playing with it and maybe give you guys an update. Maybe this is no longer a favorite, at least for my under eye area that is rapidly getting older and drier and more difficult to find concealers that work with. I hope that you guys had fun during this video. If you guys have thoughts on some of these makeup products, maybe they're old favorites of yours as well. Maybe I've convinced you to try some of these out over the years. What do you think about them now? What are some of your oldest favorites that maybe you still use regularly? I'd love to know, but that's gonna do it for now. Thank you guys again. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me give you one final reminder to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Makeup wise, I'm the equivalent of the girl that eats yogurt that's expired and just doesn't really care